Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Sahana, for running the caucus and all the other volunteers. Great to be here. I know this would be a really strong turnout here for the Acton Democratic Caucus. I've been out at a lot of different events today, including I was with the auditor this morning at the St. Patrick's Day breakfast around 8 a.m. in Dorchester. So, been a long day. But I wanted just to touch base on a few things. First of all, wonderful for DA Ryan to be here. She talked about that very difficult court case. I remember, Marion, you calling me about that happening. And I will say that I think prosecutors, particularly, progressive prosecutors, really can make a dramatic difference to push legislation. And, Marion didn't just, talk about that experience and we sat down and talked about legislation, but also she showed up at the Black and Latino Legislative Caucus press conference on the PROTECT Act, which is a comprehensive bill to protect immigrants. She was there with Governor Healy when she announced her executive order. And then going back further, now 8 years ago, she was one of the only district attorneys that stood with us for criminal justice reform that we passed in 2018. So, Marion, I thank you for your progressive leadership and proud to support you. I do have an opponent as well, a Republican opponent, so I wasn't sure if the person was going to run, but it does look like I have an opponent from Acton, someone named Tim Shea, that I met in 2022, and a few people here, including I think Stella, Sahana, and Bob met outside of the Cabela's in Berlin and Hudson when we were trying to stop the petition to repeal the driver's license law for undocumented immigrants. So my opponent led that effort. Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful, but he is, obviously a very conservative Republican, so obviously we'll be asking for your support. And I think what I would just say as far as what I'm focused on for the rest of the session is that the environmental bond bill is pending on the Senate side. Obviously money to protect open space, the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness MVP program, but also policy. So I'm the lead on several pieces of bills, from the Drought Management Act to the plastic bag ban to water banking. So we're hoping to pass at least some of those in the environmental bond bill, similar to what we did with the housing bond bill 2 years ago. That's a top priority on the climate front. It's now the Senate's turn to take on climate legislation. So I've filed several bills around solar. I don't know if anyone read the news today, but the Vineyard 1 project is finished with construction off at Martha's Vineyard, so that's wonderful news. It's already, building offshore, producing offshore wind power, but solar is a really important opportunity to expand to make sure that we're seeing more clean energy from from solar to meet our carbon emissions reductions goals. So we'll be doing a lot of work on that. My background around immigration protection with the Safe Communities Act. Many parts of the PROTECT Act, many parts of the Safe Communities Act are in the PROTECT Act. So obviously the Senate is going through its own process for protecting immigrants, but just so grateful for so many people here, many of whom are part of Blue Say, for all of your incredible work. And then the last thing I'll mention is I do serve as the Senate Chair of the Revenue Committee. And, I am someone that does believe when we're facing federal budget cuts, when state revenue is, I would say solid but not as robust as before, is we can't just rely on the millionaire's tax. I do think we need to look at more progressive tax legislation to tax those who are wealthy. There's a number of bills in the committee, doing a lot of organizing to have that conversation, because if we're really serious about everything that makes Massachusetts so great, whether it's the social safety net, whether it's our healthcare system, whether it's transportation or education, at the end of the day, if we're not going to raise the revenue, we're going to see a lot of those programs be cut. So those are some of the things I'm working on. Just want to quickly say I'm a proud supporter of Ed Markey, so I'll be supporting Ed Markey, proud supporter of Governor Healy, as well as Maura Dolan, who's running for re-election for governor's counselor. So thank you so much for having me.